A daylight heist at the Louvre. What happens when imperial jewels vanish in minutes? I'm Ethan. Maya will trace the human and historical cost. Leo will unpack forensic clues and weaknesses. We're racing the clock on recovery, and whether security reforms follow before it's too late. Tonight, a daylight jewel heist at the Louvre that split the story in two, the official timeline and the stunned voices outside. We are going to trace both, and the questions in between.
Because beneath the spectacle is a system stretched thin, years of cuts, delayed upgrades, and galleries defended by history's glass instead of today's standards.
And a media chorus calling it the theft of the decade. Maybe, but it is also a reminder that personal responsibility matters. Criminals exploit any weak seam, even at the grandest museum.
Here is what is verified. On the morning of October 19th, masked men used a truck-mounted basket lift to reach the Galerie d'Apollon, forced a second-floor window, smashed cases, and fled. This unfolded just after opening. Visitors were inside. Alarms sounded, staff responded, and the Louvre closed to preserve evidence and allow a forensic sweep of galleries and access points.
The targets were not random trinkets. We are talking imperial ensembles, diadems, necklaces, brooches tied to Napoleon, and Empresses Eugénie and Marie-Louise. Heritage, not just luxury.
One jaw-dropper, Empress Eugenie's diadem, reportedly set with more than 1,354 diamonds and 56 emeralds, was later found abandoned and damaged nearby.
Police are treating it as an organized, aggravated theft and a criminal conspiracy. Specialist cultural property investigators were mobilized. Dozens of investigators are on the case. Recovered at or near the scene: angle grinders, a blowtorch, gasoline, gloves, a walkie-talkie, a blanket, and a yellow vest reportedly dropped by a fleeing suspect. The lift was inspected too.
Officials say the thieves even tried to set the lift alight as they ran. That is not suave movie stuff. That is sloppy arson meeting quick exit strategy.
And yet, despite alarms and headcounts, the group slipped away. Staff did their jobs, but a system that is late on upgrades leaves people carrying the risk.
Ministers reacted fast. The Interior Minister called it a major, highly organized operation by a very experienced team. The Culture Minister called it a 4-minute operation without violence.
Justice Minister on radio basically said, "We failed. Someone parked a furniture hoist in central Paris and gave France a terrible image." That is unusually blunt for a minister.
Meanwhile, unions were saying this for years. Chronic understaffing, posts cut, security stretched. In June, workers protested job losses. They warned collections, and people were not safe.
Caution, though. Historic galleries often keep period cases or restored elements. Some glass is there because it is history. That romance can mean weaker resistance than modern cases.
The Louvre says alarms sounded and protocol was followed. A modernization plan includes security upgrades, but an auditor's report reportedly leaked, flagged delays and camera gaps.
Exactly the pressure point thieves exploited. Renovations, temporary routes, high visitor flow, fewer guards. That is not a fluke. It is a foreseeable vulnerability under austerity.
Hold on. An expert told broadcasters this looked simple because thieves planned the weak points weeks ahead. Timers, doors, glass. Even with more guards, 7 minutes is a tiny window.
7 minutes is precisely where design buys time. Reinforced glazing, compartmentalized alarms, man traps. Slow them down. You keep the jewels in the building and the public safe.
Public discourse kicked in immediately. Outside, a correspondent described people stunned, saying it felt like a movie. Thieves rolling up with their own lift to the Apollo gallery window.
Another report said scooters headed south toward the ring roads. One mentioned a construction site entrance, another a goods lift. The tools vary by outlet. Early coverage can be messy.
And that messiness hides the through line: staffing and security capacity. One analyst noted understaffing among guards. Renovations create weak spots. Those are not tabloid twists.
Let us log the contradictions. Duration. Some say 4 minutes, others less than 7, others 7. Group size, 3, 4, or 3 to 4. Items missing, 8 or 9.
Escape vehicles, motorbikes generally, or Yamaha T-Max specifically. Tools listed as angle grinders, disc cutters, maybe chainsaws, plus a blowtorch. Not all of that can be true at once.
But the core is consistent: a fast, surgical smash and grab in a marquee gallery as doors opened. That decision exploits opening protocols and maximum distraction.
Inventory is still ongoing. The Culture Ministry circulated a list of 8 believed missing. Some items were left behind during the escape. One major diadem was found damaged outside.
Which undercuts the idea that they were flawless pros. Even a seasoned crew drops gear and loot when the clock is loud and the alarm is blaring.
Or it shows they were racing the response because the cases were not built to hold for long. If glass fails in seconds, you do not need finesse, just speed and noise.
An art detective told a broadcaster this is something out of the ocean movies, and called it the theft of the decade. He also said the glass was not thick enough. That stings.
He warned it is a race against time. If police find them within about a week, recovery chances rise. If not, stones can be recut, metals melted, sweets dismantled to erase provenance.
And that is the heartbreak. You cannot rebuild a lineage of power and craft once it is melted. A union leader said visitors and staff are not safe under current staffing. That is the cost.
But a jewelry historian pushed back on the doom. Some stones and settings are so distinctive that the black market struggles to hide them. Heritage has a memory. It can bite sellers.
Officials vowed all resources would be used. The president called the theft an attack on shared heritage and promised recovery and justice. That is the national stakes on the record.
Meanwhile, political opponents called it a humiliation and a symbol of state decline. Easy shot, but the solution is not a soundbite. It is funding, staffing, and modernized cases.
And better ops around construction sites. One analyst said the crew likely exploited renovation scaffolds and a temporary route. If a lift can become a ladder, you build a buffer zone.
Quick recap as we pivot. A surgical smash and grab exploited access via a lift, took imperial jewels, left tools, and triggered a full-court police press. The timeline details still conflict.
Let us talk design. Historic galleries like the Apollo are masterpieces, but some display cases are original or restored. That charm turns into a structural invitation to thieves.
So, retrofit them without turning the room into an airport. Discrete laminated glass, case alarms tied to door locks, and on-view guards trained to delay and deter, not just observe.
Delay needs bodies. The culture sector has been cutting. Security posts lost. A minister said security was stepped up. Pat-downs, checks, guards in every room. But rooms need enough people.
It is also about procedures. Opening moments are fragile. Workers entering, systems switching modes. If the crew time 9:30, that is exploiting a human rhythm as much as glass.
And camera coverage. The auditor's critique of gaps matters. When a team wears masks and moves fast, reliable multi-angle footage is the difference between a blur and a plate number.
Plus the lift. Whether it was truck-mounted or a goods lift, access control around the facade failed. A secure site treats every temporary platform like a door with a badge reader.
And it treats the street as a moat. You cannot park a hoist and set up shop without someone asking questions. That is where coordination with city police earns its keep.
On recovery, experts split. Some say these pieces may never be seen again. Others argue their identity is too unique to vanish. Both agree. The first days are crucial for leads and stings.
The art detective said thieves get caught, but loot often does not. In Germany, after a palace raid, much came back, but not all. Middlemen move fast. Heat destroys provenance quickly.
A culture reporter recalled a Berlin coin melted for raw value. That is vandalism we cannot undo. Every day that passes makes the furnace more likely than the display case.
But distinct stones and mountings are hard to launder. Private collectors who commission crimes are not immune to gossip. The art world leaks. Bragging kills stealth.
So flood the zone with images, serial numbers, and micro details. Put customs, pawnbrokers, and bench jewelers on alert. Make it costlier to melt than to return anonymously.
Another unresolved thread, closure. Some outlets said the Louvre stayed closed the next day. Others reported it shut only the day of the robbery. Officials said closures preserved traces.
The inconsistency fuels outrage, but it is also standard crisis fog. Better to oversecure the scene and annoy tourists than let a footprint get swept away by a broom.
And it is not just tourists. Staff trauma matters. Imagine hearing glass shatter in your gallery and wondering if the next blow is a threat to a visitor. Safety is not a press release.
It is also not a blank check. I want results tied to risks. Upgrade specific cases, lock down renovation perimeters, fix camera blind spots. Not every gallery needs a fortress.
But the Apollo Gallery does. High-value rooms warrant layered defenses, just as airports segment high-risk zones. If we can do it for boarding gates, we can do it for crown jewels.
There is also the Louvre's long narrative of audacity, from the Mona Lisa theft in 1911 to wartime seizures. Vast collections, vast halls. Security is a marathon, not a sprint.
Good reminder. This is not the first time an icon got touched. The point is not to promise zero risk. It is to keep risk low and response high, so thieves get a sprint and a wall.
And to fund the marathon, the leaked audit slams delays, unions warned. If we ignore working people inside these temples of art, we are building stages for thieves to perform on.
Storytelling matters too. When a minister says 4 minutes and a reporter says 7, the public hears chaos. Clarify the window and show the fixes, and trust follows the facts.
Facts also include the known pressure of opening time. If guards are thin on shift changes, staff get exposed. That is not about messaging, it is about headcount on a roster.
On suspects, early reports toggled between 3 and 4. Specialists suggested this was not their first theft. The crew likely has records for banks or jewelry shops. Professionals.
Which is why recovery needs back-channel work, informants, sting buys, and quiet pressure on fence networks. People talk. A tip email can change the whole story overnight.
And why prevention must be worker-centered. More trained guards, better pay, less turnover. People who know every squeak of a door catch things cameras miss.
Do not forget the street. If a hoist parks, a ring of steel goes up. Traffic police, bylaw officers, museum security, triage the perimeter before thieves touch the facade.
We should also note some outlets reported scooters, others named Yamaha T-Max. That specificity could be a lead if cameras captured plates or unique mods. Again, camera coverage matters.
And so does the chain of custody for the damaged diadem. Every trace on it, fibers, oils, micro scratches, could link to tools or a makeshift workshop used right after the grab.
The kit they ditched, grinders, blowtorch, a walkie-talkie, also sings. Who bought them, where, and when, what cell towers lit up. Pros make mistakes when the clock screams at them.
Stepping back, the Louvre says it is rolling a multi-year security plan. The government promises vigor. The question is whether that plan accelerates now, not after another headline.
Acceleration must mean money and metrics. How many cameras added, how many blind spots eliminated, how many cases upgraded, how many guards hired. Publish it, date it, audit it.
And test it. Red team drills where ex-thieves and security pros try to break in. If they can get from street to case in under 5 minutes, you keep hardening until they cannot.
Because until then, every glittering gallery is a billboard for organized crime. You do not stop a crew like this with hope. You stop them with time. Make 7 minutes feel like 70.
And make the afterlife painful. Choke the fences, warn the jewelers, alert customs. If melting is the only path, hike the heat. Turn it into evidence, not profit.
As for the public, the Apollo Gallery's gilded vaults now carry a warning. Even the most revered institutions can be vulnerable. Recovery is not assured once pieces hit criminal networks.
But we can decide what this moment means. Doubling down on heritage as a public trust, not a luxury. Fund the guardians, modernize the glass, protect the people in the past.
And we can tell the story honestly. Decisive failure at a window, decisive action after. No melodrama, just a clear fix list and a quiet confidence that thieves will meet a wall next time.
Final recap before we close. Conflicting early details, a confirmed smash and grab, tools, and a diadem recovered, a sprawling probe underway, and big promises to tighten security.
Hold them to those promises. Publish the upgrades, hire the people, and make the first 10 minutes after opening the safest 10 minutes of the day, not the riskiest.
And if you are listening with a guilty conscience, know this. Heritage pieces leave fingerprints on reputations. The art world remembers. Collectors talk. Heat finds a way in.
Next time, we will track how investigators hunt jewels in the shadows, stone by stone, lead by lead. For now, the race against time is on. Stay with us.